and then celebrating your strengths. All right, so that was visiting the past. So now we're going to take a look at the present, because you can see now why acknowledging the past is so very important as you step in and acknowledge what's going on right now. And take it away, Carolyn.
Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. My name is CAROLYN Lee, and I'm an executive coach, and I'm with the La Miranda chapter. And now that we've heard about the past from Leah, I'm going to talk about how to ignite the present. Where do you go from here now that you've taken a look back? And I'm going to specifically talk about effective goal setting. So the tool that you're going to be hearing about today is called SMART, S-M-A-R-T. I am going to go through that acronym with you so you have a sense of what it's about, but it's really a tool for making sure that you're writing good, effective goals. But before I talk about that in a lot more specificity, I want to talk about choosing your goals. So what you heard from Leah was when you look at the past, you can see what you did well, what you're celebrating. Those are your strengths. And oftentimes, if we leverage our strengths, we can gain a whole lot out of that. So it's a good idea to say, what did I do well? And what do I want to do more of? And that you could center a goal around that. Another thing to look at, what Leah talked about, was what did you not do so well, or what we might call a weakness. And this, you don't want to spend a whole lot of time on a weakness that just because somebody else might think it's a weakness, but it's something that could be a deal breaker for your business. And it's something that, again, you might look for a goal around addressing that weakness moving forward. So whether or not you're looking to recalibrate your goals or find new ones, you can take a look at your strengths and weaknesses from the past. You can also take a look at your industry. What are your industry leaders looking at? What are they saying are the challenges for the future? That's a really nice way of looking at what somebody else has already done the research and gathered the data around. And so if you look at people's websites on their financial plans, their strategic plans, it'll give you a lot of background information. So that's about choosing goals. So let's talk about SMART. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, action-oriented, relevant, and time-based. So I'm going to go through each of these. I'm going to give you some examples. What I'm looking to help you understand are the characteristics you want to make sure you've got cooked into or baked into your goal as you're writing them. So let's talk about SMART. SMART stands for specific. So you want the goal to be specific and narrow enough so it points you towards the action you're going to take in order to achieve it. So I'm going to give you an example. For myself, I said, okay, I want to become a well-known successful coach. That's my goal. Well, as you can see, that's a little vague, it's a little amorphous. A better goal would be to say, I want to establish a unique and recognizable brand as an executive coach. So what you'll see there in the rewrite is I brought in one of my strengths, which is executive, and what I'm going to bill myself as, right? What an even better goal would be to say, I want to establish a brand as a successful executive coach that is marketed locally and globally through local business associations, coaching networks, social media, and a website. So you see, by adding specificity and really targeting what I'm going to do, it leads me in a direction. So it's much more possible for me to achieve being a successful coach. So that's S. The M stands for measurable, and this is the evidence or how you're going to know that you're making progress. So Leah touched on counting or quantifiable measures. Just a note that if you're doing this on your own, you have to, if you're going to write a measurable goal, you're going to have to collect the data. So don't write one that's too hard to collect the data. So for example, a lot of people say, I want to make so much money in the year. That's my target. That sounds measurable, but what would be a better goal would possibly be to say, I want to net so much money in the year. So that means you're making money, but you also have to take into account how much you're putting out, right? So it's a little bit more, digs a little deeper into the picture of whether or not you're successful. For me, I want to say, how much money am I going to net given a shortened work week? So there are only so many hours I want to commit to working, and I can afford to do that. But what does that mean to my overall math on this, and how much money am I going to make? So the more measures you can put into this and more specificity, the more you're going to attain your goal. That's M for measurable. A is for attainable or achievable or action oriented. Take your pick, because any site will tell you any of those three. So you want to make sure you can reasonably accomplish your goal. So I am choosing, I want to improve leadership skills for women. That goes along with my strength as an executive, but it's not very specific. So I said, I want to improve the skill levels for 100 women. I want to be able to touch and work with 100 women. And then I thought, well, really, that doesn't speak to what I'm passionate about, my why, which is women of color. So I modified it to say, I'm going to improve leadership skills for 100 women, 80% of who are women of color. And I'm still not done, but it gives that progression, maybe gives you an idea of how you get closer to what you really want to achieve. And that's what you want to do for the A, for attainable. So in that, when I said it points me to a direction, if I'm going to try and touch 100 people, that means I need to do 20 workshops, have 20 individual clients, and then somehow supplement my touches with a blog or a website. So you can see how that leads you into action. The R stands for relevant, and I would almost say this is the first thing you should do, but it doesn't, kind of screws up the acronym. It doesn't come out quite the same. But you want it to be relevant, because you don't want to choose a goal just because somebody else has chosen the goal or it sounds like a good idea. It needs to be relevant to you, to your mission, to your vision. So, for example, as a coach, everybody wants to get to the next level of accreditation. So I could put that in my goals for the year to reach the next level. But is that really pertinent or relevant to me? Well, I could say that it will enhance my branding and attract more clients if I reach that next level. But even more relevant is to say that if I reach that next level, it will qualify me for contracts in the DC area, which is where a lot of my business base is. So it's a very specific goal for me, and it's very much relevant to me versus other coaches who don't have that necessarily that in their sense of what they want to achieve. So the last thing is the T, which is time-based. So you want to set realistic and ambitious goals or dates for your tasks and your goals, accomplishments. So when I say realistic but ambitious, you're trying to get a balance there. You want, okay, yes, thank you. I'm looking at a website, balancing, creating a website. Now, sometimes we set something out that's a little too far out and we tend to procrastinate. So it's the 11th hour, it's the 11th week, it's the 11th month before we get to it. That's what we're trying to avoid here. So addressing one of my weaknesses, I have a goal to create a new website. Again, now you know the progression. That's not really that great a goal. I need to put some time to it. So I want to create a goal within the next year. Is that a good time-related or timely goal? Probably not. So to push myself and get myself motivated, I'm going to say I'm going to create a website in the next 3 months. Because if you look at it, a lot of my other goals are predicated on having a website. So it's important for me to push that up front and get myself doing this. This is not something that is a strength of mine, it is a weakness. So I know I'm going to have to look for resources and help to get it done, but it's important to my business. So hopefully the examples and this quick introduction to SMART will help you to choose goals and get them going for you to make this an effective and lively 2021 for you and help you ignite your present. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. So sounds to me like, putting the acronym over your desk, SMART, and really working on this plan if you haven't already. And it appears to me what Carolyn said is how much each part of SMART is related, to be specific at each step and bringing up your why, because again, your why will give you a reason to move ahead on certain things that appear to be important. She also said choosing your goals, looking at your strengths, leveraging your strengths, and then really acknowledging your weaknesses, because they can be a game changer, like not having a website. And again, maybe, turning to delegation if that's a real big weakness for you, and not time, and there's not enough time. And looking at your industry, really, really important points here, Carolyn. And she certainly knows, because she's an executive coach. And what she didn't mention is that because of COVID and because she is not meeting face to face, what turned out for her is she now has clients globally, where she didn't have global clients before. So this thing that appeared to be horrible turned into be a game changer for her, and can be something that would be something for all of us to look at. So congratulations on that, Carolyn, as you move forward. So, okay, and be sure to be putting your questions in the chat. I see that there are some, and I want to also congratulate all of us, because Diane said there's like 41 of us on, so that's terrific. All right, so we next are going into the future. We're sitting here today.